Hallelujah. In the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, I speak.
奉主耶穌聖名講話。
Greetings of peace to all the brothers and sisters.
向更多位弟兄姊妹嚟到去問安。
To the brothers and sisters who are gathered here from other places of worship, we welcome you today.
亦都係從別處嘅聚會點嚟到去與我哋一起呢度嚟到去歡迎你哋。
So thank God, your brother would like to share with you about true beauty.
感謝神，今日小弟與大家分享嘅題目就係真正嘅美麗。
So what is beauty?
何為美麗
I remember a phrase from Chinese school.
我記得有一句話係從呢個中文學校嚟到去學翻嚟。
Flowers, grass, the trees and the wood, all are beautiful.
呢個嘅花草樹木全部都係美麗嘅。
真美麗。
真美麗嘅。
I don't know why I remember that, but I remember that very well.
我唔知點解我會記得，但係我非常之記得呢句説話。
And something that is deemed beautiful, we may have different opinions on.
有啲東西視為係美麗嘅，我哋每個都有唔同嘅意見。
So in Western culture,
在呢個嘅西方嘅文化裏邊
you may find something beautiful, whereas in other cultures you may not.
有啲佢哋認為係美麗嘅東西，但係在第二啲嘅文化，佢哋唔會係認為美麗。
So, for example, in Western cultures, I've noticed that it is very popular to have darker skin.
我留意到嘅，在西方嘅文化，佢哋係非常之鍾意有呢個嘅膚色比較黑嘅膚色。
So, for example, people may tan on tanning beds, or they may even use fake tan to darken the skin.
佢哋可能會將嚟到去曬呢個嘅，用呢個嘅電嚟到去曬黑呢個嘅皮膚，或者用一啲嘅物品嚟到去將皮膚嚟到去搽黑佢。
But in other cultures, so for example, Eastern cultures,
但係對於另外一啲嘅文化，東方嘅文化嚟講
then they prefer to have paler skin.
佢哋就比較鍾意蒼白嘅膚色。
So they use different creams or makeup to make themselves lighter.
咁佢哋就用唔同嘅面油咧，就將自己嘅膚色嚟到去淡化。
So different cultures have different views of beauty.
咁唔同嘅文化又對於呢個嘅美麗咧有唔同嘅睇法。
Even in a same culture,
即使在同一個嘅文化裏邊
you will also have different views on what is beautiful.
我哋會都有對於呢個嘅美麗有唔同嘅睇法。
So if I say that my child is the most beautiful,
如果我話我嘅小朋友係最美麗嘅，
you also think your child is the most beautiful?
你亦都認為你自己嘅小朋友係最美麗嘅。
Then who's the most beautiful?
咁邊一個係最美麗咧？
Are you both right or are you both wrong?
咁你哋兩個係咪啱咧，或者兩個都係錯咧？
And it's because from our human point of view,
因為從人嘅角度嚟到去睇
beauty is a very superficial concept.
咁呢個嘅美麗咧係非常之膚淺嘅概念。
Because we often say that beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
因為我哋常常嚟到去講啦，呢個嘅美麗咧係在旁觀者嘅眼裏邊。
And because we all have different tastes, preferences, cultural background, we all view it differently.
因為我哋有唔同審美嘅眼光，有唔同嘅文化，所以我哋嘅睇法係唔同。
So even if we find something that is beautiful now,
即使現在你係揾到一個嘅東西係非常美麗嘅，
will it always be that beautiful?
咁佢會唔會常常都係咁美麗咧？
James chapter 1 verse 11 tells us about a flower.
咁雅各書嘅第1章第11節嚟到去話俾我哋知道呢個嘅花兒。
This rich man is likened to a beautiful flower.
咁呢個嘅富有嘅人就好似一朵嘅花咁樣。
But after time, this flower's beauty fades away.
咁隨著時間嘅過去，咁呢一個嘅花咧就會慢慢嚟到去消失，美麗慢慢嚟到去消失啦。
Because the heat from the sun comes and the beautiful appearance perishes, the flower falls.
咁因為太陽嘅炎熱出嚟啦，咁呢個嘅花朵咧開始慢慢嚟到去枯乾啦。
So this beauty was there once, but no longer.
咁呢個嘅美麗曾經係存在，但係已經唔再嚟到去存在。
And this man who was once rich is now no longer rich.
咁呢個嘅人曾經係富有，現在亦都係現在亦都係唔係富有。
So we understand that beauty is often fleeting.
咁我哋明白到呢個嘅美麗咧，常常嚟到係虛假嘅。
it's something that is beautiful now may not be beautiful after time.
咁一啲嘅事情咧，一啲嘅東西現在係美麗，但係隨咗時間過去，唔會就係保持美麗。
Just as the beauty of youth diminishes over time, we need to ask ourselves then, what is beauty?
咁正如年青嘅時候嚟到去美麗，隨咗時間過去就會消失。咁我哋要問自己乜嘢叫做美麗？
Is there even such a concept as beauty?
甚至呢個嘅美麗呢個嘅概念，有冇呢個美麗嘅概念？
So, biblically speaking, there are a few concepts we can consider when we deem something as beautiful.
咁喺聖經裏邊咧嚟到去提到我哋視呢個嘅何謂美麗。
Firstly,
第一，
if we think back to the creation,
咁我哋嚟到去想下呢個嘅創造。
when God had created every step of the creation,
當神嚟到去創造呢個世界每一步嘅時候，
how did he deem it?
佢如何睇呢一啲嘅創造？
He deemed it as good.
佢視呢一啲嘅創造為美好。
When he divided light from darkness, when he separated land from sea, everything was good.
當佢將呢個光同黑暗分開，將呢個海同地嚟到去分開嘅時候，佢視呢啲為美好。
And not only was it just good,
唔單止係美好。
when the creation was complete,
當呢個嘅創造物完成嘅時候，
how did God deem it?
咁神點樣嚟到去睇呢？
We see from Genesis chapter 1, verse 31,
我哋睇下創世記第一章
verse 31.
31節。
God saw that it was very good.
第一章第31節，神看着一切所做的甚好。
Yeah. So this goodness was because his work had fulfilled his aims.
因為呢一啲嘅美好，因為佢嘅工作就嚟到去完成。
Everything that was created exhibited the goodness of God.
呢啲所有創造嘅物係嚟到去係神嘅美好。
And everything of creation, even to the smallest of details, exhibited the divine nature of God.
所有嘅事情，甚至係微小被創造嘅事情嚟到去彰顯出神嘅
the nature of God.
神嘅本性。
So there was beauty from the beginning of the universe.
在呢個嘅世界之前有呢個嘅美麗。
And the beauty was there, God's will was fulfilled, and it was displayed for every generation after to enjoy.
呢個嘅美麗係存在嘅，咁呢一啲嘅美麗在唔同嘅年代咁樣嚟到去產生。
We also see beauty in the Garden of Eden.
我哋甚至在呢個嘅伊甸園見到呢個嘅美麗。
How do we know?
我哋如何知道呢？
We see the beauty of God's creation in chapter 2, verse 9.
我哋見到神美好嘅創造在第2章嘅第9節。
And it says in verse 9, out of the ground the Lord God made every tree grow that is pleasant to the sight and good for food. The tree of life was also in the midst of the garden.
主耶穌説明到聖經第9節，耶和華神使各樣樹從地裏長出來，可以悅人的眼目，其上的果子好作食物，園子當中有生命樹和分別善惡的樹。
So every tree God planted was pleasant to the sight.
咁每一果嘅樹神所栽種嘅係悅人嘅眼目，
And it was good for food.
係好當作呢個嘅食物。
So this beauty that God instilled in the creation,
咁呢一個嘅美麗神嚟到去灌注在呢個嘅創造裏邊。
it wasn't just surface level beauty,
唔係表面上嘅美麗，
not just something that looked beautiful.
唔係一啲只係看起嚟係美麗。
It was beautiful because it was of good use as well.
佢係美麗嘅，因為係有呢個嘅用處。
They were good to look at, but also useful as food.
佢哋係悅人嘅眼目，亦都好像可以當為呢個嘅食物。
They weren't just decorations in this garden.
佢哋唔係只係在呢個嘅花園裏邊作呢個嘅裝飾。
So God's plan for his creation is to have beauty.
神嚟到去計劃嚟到去作呢個嘅創造，就係有呢個嘅美麗。
Not just to have aesthetic beauty, but also to be of practical use as well.
唔單止係呈現呢個嘅美麗，有呢個嘅實踐嘅用途。
But over the course of time,
但係隨著一段嘅時間，
a man, due to his questioning and curious nature,
人佢嘅本性咧有呢個嘅好奇同埋質疑嘅本性。
He corrupted this natural beauty.
佢破壞咗曾經存在嘅美麗。
He degraded the beauty that was once there.
佢嚟到去破壞曾經存在美麗嘅次序。
So we need to first remember this point that we were made to demonstrate the beauty of God.
咁我哋要明白呢一點嘅，我哋被創造嚟到去彰顯神嘅美麗。
Secondly,
第二，
we know from Ecclesiastes chapter 3,
我哋從呢個嘅傳道書嘅第三章，
chapter 3 verse 11,
第三章嘅第11節，
that God has made everything beautiful in its time.
第三章第11節，神造萬物各按其時成為美好。
So everything has beauty within itself.
所有被創造嘅物裏邊都有佢嘅美麗。
There is something inside which is beautiful, which God will reveal at the exact moment it is needed.
呢個嘅所有在呢一啲嘅東西裏邊嘅美麗，在適當嘅時候，神就將佢顯露出嚟。
It might just be hidden for now.
或者而家係被隱藏嘅，
It is like a piece of fruit.
就好似一個嘅生果。
Recently, in my household, we like to buy persimmons.
最近嘅我屋企好常嚟到去買呢個嘅林茨。
You can buy them, eat them straight away, thinking they're going to be very tasty.
你可以買到之後咧，即時可以食，咁非常之甜味。
We think they're tasty.
我哋認為佢係好甜味。
But the more that we have bought,
但係我哋越買得多，
we come to realize that even though they are in your house,
我哋發覺到，即使佢係在屋企裏邊，
they might not be at their best.
但係佢哋唔係在最好嘅狀態當中。
You might need to wait until the fruit is ripened.
我哋可能要等到呢啲生果嚟到去熟透啦。
Otherwise, the flesh is too hard, breaks your teeth.
如果唔係咧，呢一啲嘅生果好新鮮，但係好硬，就嚟到去擋住我哋嘅牙。
Or on the other hand, it could be too ripe, it's too soft, you can't enjoy it.
如果唔係咧，就係太腍啦，我哋就唔能夠嚟到去享用。
So there is a beauty there.
喺裏邊當中係有呢個嘅美麗。
But there is a window for that beauty.
但係在呢個嘅美麗當中咧，係有呢個嘅持窗嘅美麗。
There is a time.
係有呢個嘅時間。
So we go through life not knowing when things may happen.
咁我哋過着呢個嘅人生，我哋唔知道呢一啲嘅事情幾時會發生。
Or we might need to wait a long time until our prayers are answered.
或者我哋要等到一段好長嘅時間，直至到我哋嘅禱告蒙應允。
But this perfect time is in the hands of God.
但係美好嘅時間咧，係在神嘅手裏邊。
This beautiful moment when your faith is made real.
就係呢個嘅非常美好嘅時刻，就係我哋嘅信心嚟到去被顯露。
Or that point when you realize this God is truly real.
就係在嗰個嘅時刻，你就察覺到呢個嘅神係真正存在緊。
We don't know when this point will come in our life.
但係我哋唔知道呢一啲嘅事情在我哋嘅生命當中幾時會出現。
But that beautiful moment is there.
但係呢個美好嘅時刻係存在。
It is waiting to be revealed by God when you need to know the best, the most.
就係我哋嚟到去等待神嚟到去將呢一啲嘅事情嚟到去顯露出嚟，係在美好嘅時候。
It may be when we least expect.
或者在我哋唔係咁期待嘅時候。
But it is at the point that we need Him the most.
就在嗰一刻，我哋真係非常之需要神嘅時候。
So we also find this beauty when we utilize that which God has given to us.
我哋常常嚟到去察覺呢一種嘅美麗，就係我哋嚟到去神嚟到去利用佢。
When we utilize that which God gives to us.
我哋嚟到去利用佢，就係神嚟到去賜俾我哋㗎。
To make a difference to the people around us.
嚟到去將在我哋身邊周圍嘅人嚟到去作呢一個嘅有唔同嘅用處。
Because God gives us all different gifts.
因為神賜俾我哋各有不同嘅恩賜。
And these gifts are not just for our own personal use.
咁呢一啲嘅恩賜唔係只係俾我哋自己本身嚟到去用。
They're not just for our own personal gain.
亦都唔係為着我哋自己本人嘅得着呢個嘅益處。
It is to be used to help those around us.
嚟到去用，嚟到去幫助在我哋身邊嘅人。
Let's look at 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 10.
我哋打開彼得前書嘅第4章第10節。
1 Peter chapter 4, verse 10.
彼得前書4章第10節。
As each one has received a gift, minister it to one another, as good stewards of the manifold grace of God.
第10節，各人要照所得的恩賜彼此服侍，作神百般恩賜的好管家。
We need to use the gifts God has first given to us to minister to each other.
我哋要利用神首先嚟到去俾我哋嘅恩賜嚟到去彼此服侍。
Not to be selfish and just edify ourselves.
唔好好自私咁樣嚟到去只係造就自己。
Because we are stewards of the manifold grace of God.
因為我哋係作神百般恩賜嘅好管家。
We receive so much grace from God first.
首先我哋係從神嗰度得到好多嘅恩賜。
So we need to use it to let others know they can receive this grace as well.
咁我哋需要嚟到去用呢啲嘅恩賜，讓他人知道我哋從神而領受呢一啲嘅恩賜。
So to use these gifts at the right time to minister to others, this is beauty.
嚟到去用呢一啲嘅恩賜，在適當嘅時候，讓他人嚟到去認識神。
So second point is there is a time for beauty.
第二點就係呢個嘅美麗係有佢嘅時候。
Thirdly,
第三，
there are many biblical characters described as beautiful.
在聖經裏邊有好多嘅人物被形容為係美麗。
We know from Genesis chapter 12.
我哋知道從呢個嘅出埃及記嘅呢個嘅創世記嘅第12章。
We know that Sarah was of beautiful countenance.
我哋知道呢個嘅撒拉係非常之美麗嘅。容貌係非常之美麗。
We also know from Genesis chapter 39.
我哋從創世記嘅39章亦都知道。
Genesis 39 verse 6.
第6節，39章第6節。
That Joseph was handsome in form and appearance.
我哋知道約瑟係非常之俊美嘅。
So many characters are beautiful.
有好多嘅人物係非常之美麗。
What about Jesus?
咁至於主耶穌咧？
He was God manifest in the flesh.
佢係神道成肉身。
But from the Bible, what do we know about the beauty of Jesus himself?
咁從聖經裏邊，咁我哋可以知道主耶穌嘅本身係點樣呢？
Let's turn to Isaiah 53.
我哋打開呢個嘅以賽亞書53章。
Isaiah chapter 53 verse 2.
以賽亞書53章嘅第2節。
Verse 2. For he shall grow up before him as a tender plant, and as a root out of dry ground. He has no form or comeliness, and when we see him, there is no beauty that we should desire him.
第2節，他在耶和華面前生長如嫩芽，像根蓄於乾地。他無佳形美容，我們看見他的時候，也無美貌使我們羨慕他。
So here is a prophecy of he who will come out of the root of the house of David.
咁呢度嚟到去預言，佢係從大衛家嘅根出嚟嘅。
This is Jesus.
呢個就係耶穌。
And from the verses we understand that he will have a very ordinary upbringing.
咁從呢幾節經節裏邊，我哋可以明白到佢係出身於一個非常之平凡嘅教養。
He came out of dry ground.
佢從呢個嘅乾地而出。
So he will thrive in a land where you would imagine it'd be very difficult for him to grow.
呢個乾地我哋可以想像嘅係非常之困難，讓佢嚟到去生長。
And Jesus is this tender plant.
主耶穌係呢一個嘅柔嫩嘅植物。
He will have no form, no comeliness.
佢係冇呢個嘅形式，亦都冇呢個嘅佳容。
So he won't grow up in a palace or majestic surroundings.
咁佢唔係在呢個嘅皇宮或者皇位嘅地方嚟到去生長。
But actually he will have no beauty that we should desire him.
咁其實佢係冇呢個嘅美貌，讓我哋嚟到去羨慕佢。
So there's nothing physical to draw our attention to this Jesus.
咁其實 肉身上冇嘢令到我哋嚟到去吸引我哋嚟到去到耶穌嗰度。
He's just a child of humble beginnings.
佢只係一個嘅好平凡嘅小朋友。
Of lowly growth.
係好低微咁樣嚟到去成長。
Physically speaking, nothing special.
即係身上嚟到去講，佢係冇乜嘢係特別嘅。
But because he grew up in dry ground,
因為佢在呢個嘅乾地嚟到去生長。
then we need to imagine that he has very deep roots from which he can draw moisture from deep.
咁我哋可以嚟到去想像，佢係有一個好深嘅根可以
that he can draw moisture.
咁佢可以從呢個咁深嘅根嗰度嚟到去吸取呢個嘅水分。
So Jesus had no physical beauty.
咁主耶穌佢嘅外貌係冇呢個嘅家肉。
And even if he did,
即使佢係有
then it would have been taken away through the sufferings that he went through.
即使佢係有嘅，就會將佢在呢個嘅經過呢個嘅苦難嘅時間裏邊，將呢一啲嘅家用嚟到去消逝。
We see this from chapter 52, verse 14.
我哋可以從呢個嘅第52章第14節嗰度嚟到去見到。
Isaiah 52, verse 14.
以賽亞書52章第14節。
Just as many were astonished by you, so his visage was marred more than any man, and his form more than the sons of men.
第14節，許多人因他驚奇，他的面貌比別人憔悴，他的形容比世人枯槁。
So our third point is, even Jesus may not have had physical beauty.
第三點就係，即使係耶穌，佢亦都冇呢個嘅肉身嘅美麗。
But none of this we truly know because the Bible does not record his physical features in detail.
咁我哋冇真正咁樣嚟到去明白到，因為聖經冇好仔細咁樣嚟到去記載呢一啲嘅事情。
Fourthly,
第四，
where is beautiful?
呢個嘅美麗係在邊一度呢？
It is somewhere that we can serve God.
就係一啲嘅地方，我哋可以侍奉神。
How do we know this?
我哋如何知道呢一點？
Let's look at Acts chapter 3, verse 2.
我哋打開《使徒行傳》嘅第3章第2節。
Acts of the Apostles chapter 3, verse 2.
使徒行傳第3章第2節。
And a certain man, lame from his mother's womb, was carried, whom they laid daily at the gate of the butte, which is called Beautiful, to ask alms from those who entered the temple.
第2節，有一個人生來是瘸腿的，天天被人抬來放在殿的一個門口，那門名叫美門，要求眾殿的人周濟。
So this gate was where a lame man was laid every day.
咁呢一個嘅門呢，就係一個嘅瘸腿嘅人，天天被人抬來放在嗰一度。
This gate called Beautiful.
咁呢一個門叫做美門。
And here Peter and John invoked the name of Jesus to heal this man.
咁呢個嘅彼得、約翰奉主耶穌嘅聖名嚟到去醫治呢一個人。
So beauty and beautiful is somewhere we can find God.
呢個嘅美麗就係我哋在嗰一度能夠尋見神。
It's somewhere where we can experience God for ourselves.
就係喺嗰一度我哋自己能夠親自嚟到去體驗神。
Beauty is where we can go to receive the healing of God.
呢個嘅美麗就係我哋可以去到嗰度嚟到去領受神嘅醫治。
It is somewhere we can touch and know and feel God's healing.
就係嗰一度我哋能夠明白到嚟到去感受到神嘅醫治。
And it is where God's power can be manifest to everybody around.
就係神嘅能力能夠在當中嚟到去顯露給眾人。
So beautiful is a place where we can serve God.
呢個嘅美麗就係嗰個地方就係我哋能夠侍奉神。
Beautiful is a place where we can gather and where other people can know about the power of God.
呢個美麗就係嗰個地方眾人嚟到去聚集嚟到去體驗神嘅能力。
So these points that we've mentioned about beauty,
呢一點我哋提到呢個嘅美麗。
they're all very positive.
非常之正面。
But there are also negative points to beauty.
對於美麗都有負面嘅方面。
There are dangers to beauty.
美麗亦都有佢危險嘅地方。
Let's look at Genesis chapter 6, verse 2.
打開呢個嘅創世記第6章第2節。
Genesis chapter 6, verse 2.
創世記第6章嘅第2節。
That the sons of God saw the daughters of men that they were beautiful, And they took wives for themselves for all whom they chose.
第二節，神的兒子們看見淫的女子美貌，就隨意挑選，娶來為妻。
So these daughters of men were beautiful.
呢個嘅淫嘅女子美貌，
So that the sons of God took them as wives.
神嘅兒子就娶來為妻。
And actually, this was one aspect of their wickedness.
呢個就係一方呢個嘅就係呢個嘅罪惡嘅一方面。
Because we see in verse 5 that every intent of their heart was only evil.
因為從第5節我哋可以睇到佢哋終日所思想嘅盡都是惡。
So when we see superficial beauty,
當我哋見到呢個嘅表面上嘅美麗，
it can lead to our destruction.
可以引導呢個嘅敗壞。
We see this from verse 6.
我哋可以從第6節嚟到去看見。
Because God was grieved in his heart because of the actions of the sons of men.
因為人嘅所做嘅
The
事
sons
情，
of God, sorry. Actions of the sons of God.
因為神嘅兒子所做嘅事情，令到神心裏嚟到去憂傷。
And because of the evil intent in their heart, because of this beauty,
因為佢哋心裏邊嘅惡，就係因為呢個嘅美麗。
then God decides he will destroy the world to start once over.
咁神就決定嚟到去毀滅呢個嘅世界，嚟到去再重新開始。
We also see the danger of beauty in 2 Samuel.
我哋亦都可以見到呢個嘅美麗嘅危險，在呢個嘅撒母耳記下。
2 Samuel chapter 11.
撒母耳記下嘅第11章。
2 Samuel chapter 11 verse 2.
撒母耳記下第11章嘅第2節。
Verse 2. Then it happened one evening that David arose from his bed and walking on the roof of the king's house, and from the roof he saw a woman bathing, and the woman was very beautiful to behold.
第2節，一日太陽平西，大衛從牆上起來，在皇冠的平頂上遊行，看見一個婦人沐浴，容貌甚美。
So in the middle of the night, David arose, seeing a beautiful woman bathing.
太陽平西嘅時候，大衛從牆上起來，看見一個婦人嚟到去沐浴。
So to see this woman is not necessarily a sin.
見到呢一個嘅婦人唔係一定係罪。
Yeah, but what he chose to do next is the sin.
但係
Is his downfall.
但係佢選擇下一步所做嘅事情就係罪，係呢個嘅敗壞。
He chose to seek after this beauty that he saw,
佢嚟到去選擇追隨佢所看見嘅美麗，
to lie with her so that she conceived a child.
與佢同枕就懷孕佢哋嘅兒子。
So the beauty of this woman is not in question.
呢個婦人嘅美麗係唔係一個嘅問題？
It's David's lust because of this beauty.
就係因為大衛嘅慾望，因為呢個嘅美麗。
So when we see beauty, we can enjoy it from afar.
當我哋見到呢個嘅美麗嘅時候，我哋可以從遠處嚟到去享受。
But if we do not guard our hearts, then it can lead us to sin.
但係如果我哋唔緊守我哋嘅心，可以引導我哋嚟到去犯罪。
We also see this in Deuteronomy chapter 8.
我哋可以從呢個嘅申命記第8章嚟到去看見。
Deuteronomy chapter 8 verses 11 and 12.
申命記第8章11至12節。
Verse 11. Beware that you do not forget the Lord your God by not keeping his commandments, his judgments, and his statutes, which I command you today, lest, when you have eaten and are full, and have built beautiful houses and dwell in them.
第11節，你要謹慎，免得忘記耶和華你的神，不守他的誡命、典章、律例，就是我今日所吩咐你們的。第12節，恐怕你們吃得飽足，建造美好的房屋居住。
So we see from these verses, God allows us to have and build beautiful houses.
從呢兩節經節，我哋可以見到神容許我哋建造美好嘅房屋居住。
To dwell in them, to eat, to be full.
嚟到去居住在裏邊，嚟到去食得飽足。
But when we are in this comfort, in this abundance,
當我哋在呢個嘅舒適豐富嘅環境裏邊，
then we can easily forget the God who gave us it all in the first place.
咁我哋就好容易忘記，就係起初嘅神所賜給我哋呢啲所有嘅東西。
Beauty can be blinding.
呢個嘅美麗係可以嚇眼㗎。
It causes us to not see beyond the beauty.
令到我哋唔能夠見到超越呢個嘅美麗嘅事情。
We also see it in Haggai chapter 1 verse 4.
我哋都可以打開哈該書嘅第1章第4節。
Haggai chapter 1 verse 4.
哈該書第1章第4節。
Is it time for you yourselves to dwell in your panelled houses and this temple to lie in ruins?
第4節，這殿仍然荒涼，你們自己還住天花板的房屋嗎？
So the beauty of this panelled house that you can live in.
就係呢一個嘅美麗嘅你哋所居住美麗嘅天花板房屋。
It can cause us to ignore the work that needs to be done outside.
會令到我哋嚟到去唔理會呢一啲外邊所發生嘅事情。
It can cause us to ignore the spiritual state of the temple.
亦都可以令到我哋唔理會呢個嘅呢個聖殿嘅狀況。
And instead we just enjoy the comfort and security of our own panelled house.
我哋就會嚟到去好享受我哋呢個舒適呢個嘅天花板嘅房屋。
So these are the dangers of beauty.
呢個就係美麗嘅危險。
And thinking about beauty, what is it that we can do to attain true beauty?
咁講到呢個嘅美麗，咁我哋可以從呢個嘅美麗當中嚟到去得着乜嘢嘅提醒？
Where can we find true beauty?
咁喺邊度我哋可以尋得呢個真正嘅美麗？
Let's firstly look at Psalm 29.
首先我哋打開呢個嘅詩篇嘅29篇。
Psalm 29 verse 2.
詩篇29篇嘅第2節。
Verse 2. Give unto the Lord the glory due to his name. Worship the Lord in the beauty of holiness.
第2節，要將耶和華的名所當得的榮耀歸給他，以聖潔的裝飾敬拜耶和華。
So we can find true beauty because we can worship God.
我哋可以尋得真正嘅美麗，因為我哋可以敬拜神。
His holiness is beauty.
佢嘅聖潔係美麗。
His holiness is that which we need to seek after.
佢嘅聖潔就係我哋需要嚟到去尋找嘅。
It is when we worship God in spirit and in truth.
就係當我哋以心靈和誠實嚟到去敬拜神。
It's then that we are giving the glory due to his name.
咁我哋就會讓神嘅名嚟到去得着呢個嘅榮耀。
Psalm 147 verse 1.
呢個嘅詩篇47篇。
147.
147篇。
Psalm 147 verse 1.
詩篇147篇嘅第1節。
Praise the Lord, for it is good to sing praises to our God, for it is pleasant, and praise is beautiful.
詩篇147篇嘅第1節，你們要讚美耶和華，因歌頌我們的神為善為美，讚美的話是合宜的。
So our praise is beautiful.
我哋嘅讚美係美麗嘅。
Because this God is the God of all creation.
因為呢個嘅神係創造宇宙萬物嘅神。
He is worthy of our praise.
係配得我哋嚟到去稱讚。
And when we praise him and sing out to him in sincerity of heart,
當我哋以一個虔誠嘅心嚟到去歌頌讚美佢，
then this is something that God finds truly beautiful.
咁呢一啲嘅事情，神真正係覺得係非常之美麗。
I remember when I was younger.
我記得當我細個嘅時候，
I really enjoyed singing.
我係非常之喜歡唱歌。
I still enjoy singing.
我現在仍然係喜歡唱歌。
But I enjoyed being part of choir.
我中意參加呢個嘅詩歌班。
And when I first joined, it felt very powerful to be in such a group worshiping God together.
當我第一次參加嘅時候，我發覺到非常之有呢個嘅能力，就係參與呢一群嘅詩歌班裏邊。
So I was very eager to sing.
我非常之渴望嚟到去唱詩。
So when I was in the choir,
當我在詩歌班裏邊嘅時候，
I sang bass.
我就唱呢個嘅男低音。
I would sing my part very loud.
咁我就唱我嗰一部分非常之大聲嚟到去唱。
Because I enjoyed singing so much.
因為我非常之喜愛呢個嘅唱詩。
So I remember thinking I should sing as loud as I can.
咁我記得我喺度嚟到去想我盡我嘅所能唱到最大聲。
I didn't think about the people in front of me.
咁我冇諗到在我前邊嗰啲人。
Or the effect that I might have had on the choir.
亦都冇嚟到去諗到我對呢個詩歌班嘅影響。
Because that idea of a choir is for voices to blend together.
因為呢個嘅詩歌班佢哋嘅用意咧，就係將所有嘅聲音嚟到去融合一起。
But if I'm singing very loud,
但係如果我唱到好大聲，
I'm like a thumb sticking out.
就好似一隻手指公嚟到去豎起。
And I remember during a recording,
我記得在一個嘅錄影嘅時候，
a brother who is looking after the recording,
咁我記得呢個嘅弟兄佢係睇住呢個嘅錄影嘅。
I think he said that I was very noticeable.
咁我記得佢講過話，我係非常之突出。
I think he was trying to tell me to sing a bit quieter.
我諗佢想嚟到去嘗試話俾我知，唔好唱到咁大聲。
So I was very eager.
我係非常之渴望嚟到去唱。
I wanted to do my best and sing out as loud as I could.
我想做到我自己最好嘅，盡我嘅所能嚟到去唱到最大聲。
But I should have thought about my effect on the rest of the choir.
咁我應該嚟到去考慮下我對呢個嘅詩歌班嘅影響。
I needed to think about what I was actually doing.
咁我需要嚟到去思想一下，其實我係喺度做乜嘢？
Because just because I sing the loudest, does that mean my worship is better than anyone else's?
咁係咪因為我唱到咁大聲，咁我嘅敬拜咧係比別人好咧？
Actually, just because I sing loudest doesn't necessarily mean my worship is true and sincere.
因為我唱到最大聲，唔代表我嘅敬拜係誠心嘅。
And just because I pray the loudest, does that mean God will hear our prayer first?
如果我係禱告嘅時候好大聲，係咪代表神首先嚟到去聽到我嘅禱告咧？
Or because I sit where other people can see me reading the Bible?
或者我坐喺度，係咪俾人嚟到去見到我喺度讀呢個嘅聖經？
Does that mean my heart is filled with biblical truth?
係咪代表我嘅心係充滿着呢個聖經嘅話語？
We need to think about our worship.
咁我哋要諗下我哋嘅敬拜，
It needs to be in spirit and in truth.
要盡心盡意嚟到去敬拜。
It is spirit and in truth.
誠實嚟到去敬拜，
which is internal.
係內在嘅。
It is something only you know.
呢一啲嘅事情只係你自己嚟到去知道。
It is only something that you can control.
呢一啲嘅事情只有你才能夠嚟到去控制。
Are we worshipping God wholeheartedly?
咁我哋要用心嚟到去敬拜神。
心靈誠實。
用心靈和誠實嚟到去敬拜神。
Or do we want to just look like we are worshipping wholeheartedly?
咁我哋係咪只係俾人睇起嚟，我哋只係用心靈和誠實嚟到去敬拜佢咧？
Or we just like the hypocrites in Matthew chapter 6?
就我哋係咪好似嗰啲假冒為善，在呢個嘅馬太福音第6章嘅假冒為善嘅人咧？
Who pray standing in the synagogues, who pray standing on the corners of the streets.
佢哋禱告站在會堂當中，站在十字路口嚟到去禱告。
Because they want to be seen.
因為佢哋想被人見到。
They want to be heard.
佢想被人聽見。
Or instead, are we in a secret place to worship God?
相反嘅，我哋係咪在呢個嘅隱密處嚟到去尋求神呢？
Instead, are we somewhere where we can shut the door, be away from others, and have true, genuine worship?
咁我哋係咪將呢個嘅門嚟到去關上，嚟到去真正與神嚟到去靈交呢？
So the first point about true beauty is that we need to find the beauty in true worship.
第一點嘅，我哋對神嘅敬拜就係我哋要用呢個嘅心靈和誠實嚟到去敬拜。
Secondly, we can create beauty to worship God.
第二點嘅就係我哋可以嚟到去創造呢個嘅美麗嚟到去敬拜神。
We can create beauty in order to glorify God.
我哋可以創造呢個嘅美麗，為着嚟到去榮耀神。
Look at Exodus 35.
我哋打開呢個嘅出埃及記嘅第35章。
Exodus 35 from verse 10 onwards.
出埃及記第35章從第10節起手。
Here, this chapter tells us about furnishing the tabernacle.
呢幾節經節嚟到去話俾我哋知，在會幕裏邊嘅家具。
Yes, so we see from verse 10, the gifted artisans shall make the furniture that the Lord has commanded.
從第10節嚟到去話俾我哋知，在佢哋中間凡心裏有智慧嘅，都要來做耶和華一切所吩咐嘅。
We see from verse 5 to 10, whoever is willing should bring all sorts of colors, fragrances, precious stones as an offering to the Lord.
從第5節至到第10節，我哋可以見到，凡係樂意嘅要拿應該要拿各種唔同嘅顏色、香料、寶貴嘅珍貴嘅寶石嚟到去為祭獻給神。
Everyone should bring their best to create something of beauty.
所有嘅人將佢至好嘅嚟到去獻上，嚟到去創造呢個嘅美麗。
Let's read verse 21.
我哋讀第21節。
Then everyone came whose heart was stirred, and everyone whose spirit was willing, and they brought the Lord's offering for the work of the tabernacle of meeting, for all its service, and for the holy garments.
第21節，凡心裏受感和甘心樂意的，都拿耶和華的禮物來，用以做會幕和其中一切的使用，有用以做聖衣。
So they were all stirred up to bring the best for the tabernacle.
佢哋嚟到去受感嘅、甘心嘅，將最好嘅嚟到去帶到會幕嗰一度。
God stirs up the people to create beauty in the place where they can find God.
神嚟到去激勵佢哋嘅心，嚟到去建造呢個嘅美麗，在一個嘅地方，佢哋能夠嚟到去尋得見神。
Yeah, God called them to design artistic works in verse 32.
在第32節，神嚟到去呼召佢哋想出一啲嘅巧工。
In verse 35, he filled them with skill.
咁第35節，神嚟到去讓佢哋嘅心裏邊充滿智慧，能做各樣嘅工。
So God gave them every gift that they needed to use for a godly use to beautify the church.
咁神嚟到去讓佢哋嚟到去得到一啲嘅所有嘅智慧，能夠做成呢啲美好嘅工。
God gives us an opportunity to serve as well today.
今日神亦都有俾機會我哋嚟到去侍奉。
We need to use this opportunity to create something beautiful for God.
咁我哋就用呢一啲嘅機會嚟到去創造為神嚟到去創造一啲美麗嘅事情。
So in recent weeks, the church has asked for many team members to assist in the everyday works of the church.
咁在最近呢幾個星期，教會嚟到去呼籲一啲嘅弟兄姊妹嚟到去協助教會裏邊一啲嘅成功。
Maybe in refreshments or the various cleaning teams.
或者在呢個嘅茶點組，或者在唔同嘅清潔組裏邊。
To create a safe, clean, comfortable environment for us all to worship Him.
嚟到去創造一個嘅清潔、安全嘅環境，讓我哋嚟到去崇拜。
If we have the time,
如果我哋有時間，
if we have the opportunity,
如果我哋有呢個嘅機會，
if God has given us a skill,
如果神讓我哋有呢個嘅才能，
then why not volunteer our 2 mites?
點解我哋唔願意嚟到去獻上我哋2個嘅小情
？So that the work of the church can be spread out over more brethren.
讓教會嘅工作嚟到去在唔同嘅弟兄姊妹當中嚟到去分擔。
Why not allow our 2 hands to be used by God to create something beautiful?
點解唔容許我哋2雙手嚟到去俾神使用嚟到去創造一啲美好嘅東西？
We need to ask ourselves, are we doing enough to repay God for His love?
咁我哋有冇自問自己，我哋有冇做到足夠嚟到去回報神嘅愛？
And perhaps in this new year we can think, can I do more?
咁或者在新嘅1年裏邊，我哋要自問自己，我哋可唔可以做得更多？
Can I take part in creating something beautiful somewhere in this church that we all call our home?
咁我哋可唔可以在呢一個嘅教會裏邊，我哋視為我哋嘅家裏邊嚟到去創造一啲美好嘅東西。
So true beauty is something we can find if we have the godly wisdom to find it.
真正嘅美麗就係我哋能夠係可以尋見嘅，有呢個嘅虔誠嘅心嚟到去尋見。
Beauty is something which has been in the world from the beginning.
呢個嘅美麗就係在呢個嘅世界之前已經係有嘅。
God gives us all the ability to become beautiful in time.
在適當嘅時候，神讓我哋有呢個嘅心嚟到去尋找呢個嘅美麗。
Let us not just seek after physical beauty.
讓我哋唔好只係嚟到去尋找呢個嘅肉身上嘅美麗。
Instead, let us seek after the inner beauty of the heart.
相反嘅，我哋要嚟到去尋找我哋內在嘅美麗。
Let us find beauty in truly worshipping God.
讓我哋嚟到去尋找呢個嘅美麗，在呢個嘅真心 誠心嚟到去敬拜神嘅裏邊。
Let us use the gifts that God has given to us to create a more beautiful church to worship in.
讓我哋嚟到去利用神所賜俾我哋嘅恩賜嚟到去建立咁美好崇拜嘅環境。
Psalm 27 verse 4.
呢個嘅詩篇
Psalm 27
詩篇27篇
verse 4.
第4節。
One thing I have desired of the Lord, that will I seek, that I may dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life, to behold the beauty of the Lord and to inquire in his temple.
第4節，有一件事我尋求耶和華，我仍要尋求，就是一生一世住在耶和華的殿中，瞻仰他的榮美，在他的殿裏求問。
In this new year ahead,
在嚟緊呢個嘅新年，
let us desire to seek the Lord.
讓我哋嚟到去瞻仰讓我哋嚟到去尋求呢個嘅神。
That every day we find out what is truly beautiful in the eyes of the Lord.
每一日我哋真正嚟到去尋見在神嘅眼裏何為真正嘅美麗。
We give thanks to God.
我哋感謝神。
Our sermon ends here.
我哋嘅戰到呢一度。
Sing hymn 411.
唱詩411首。